Hi, Mom.
Hey, Mac. What was that? What are you doing? Are you sneezing? What are you doing?
I was gonna try to do a Julia Roberts.
What?
I was gonna try to do a Julia Roberts impression.
Well, why didn't you?
Why did I?
You did?
Well, I realized she's got a pretty generic voice and accent, first of all. And then I started laughing so hard, and then you asked me if I was sneezing.
Yeah, I thought that's what you were doing.
No. I thought it'd be funny if I did a Julia Roberts impression a la Runaway Bride or Eat, Pray, Love. Because I've disappeared into the desert to find myself.
Oh, I see. But how would I have known that that was an impression?
Well, that's what I'm saying, Mom. What I'm saying is I started to do my Julia Roberts impression, and then I realized this is just a normal, plain, North American, non-generic accent.
Okay. So it was a fail.
Mom, we're a team here, and you're not doing a good job supporting me.
Sorry, that was not very supportive.
I can try again. Hold on. Hey, Mom.
Hey, Mac.
How are you today?
Oh, my word.
Okay, let's just cut to the chase here.
Okay.
I'm in the desert.
You flew the coop.
Hey, Mac, why are you in the desert?
Oh.
Thanks for the setup, Mom. I'll tell you.
Okay, let's try again. Do a do-over.
Hi,
Edit
Mom.
that out.
I'm not editing it out. Hi, Mom. How are you today?
Mac, that does not sound like you.
It's not supposed to sound like me,
It doesn't
Mom.
sound like anybody else either.
Listen, I watched a bunch of Julia Roberts interviews before this and absolutely destroyed my YouTube search history. But really, every once in a while, when she says words like blue, you can sort of hear kind of a little bit of a something.
Oh, really?
Sort of a Midwestern flair, but I don't know where she's actually from.
I don't know either.
I would have thought she had a bit of a Southern drawl, but apparently not. Anyway, did you know she was rated CoverGirl's Most Beautiful Woman 5 times, and George Clooney has only been the world's sexiest man twice?
I did not know that information. Thank you.
Well, now I know it because I was trying to do some research for the podcast. Okay, so I'm in the desert, Mom.
Why are you in the desert?
I have decided to take an extended trip. So many things happened. Well, we're not getting into that.
Yeah, we are.
The important thing is,
I thought that was the idea of the podcast for the next few weeks is that we do the road trip.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna. Do you want me to explain all the reasons why I decided I needed a vacation?
Oh no! I thought you were skipping over the whole even getting started, like the -40 weather and no starting and.
We haven't recorded in a while.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It was colder than a Yeti's bunghole when I left.
Back.
I thought that's what you wanted.
No, that is not what I wanted. Yeah, it was real cold.
It was -40 when I left. And it's now 20 degrees here in the sprightly Arizona. The van didn't start for a fierce few days, and I was already in vacation mode, so as you might imagine, I did not handle that gracefully.
You did pretty good.
Mom, you didn't see all the tears because Dad was taking me back and forth to the van because I left my car somewhere else for while I'm gone. So my dad had to drive me back and forth to the van. So he saw the brunt of the tears, and by the time I got back to Auntie Wendy's house, really, I had mostly composed myself. So thank you for thinking I handled it well, but that's a lie.
Yeah.
You just weren't there for the first part of it. In any case,
Okay.
I got on the road, and then I contended with my many anxieties on my way. And I think the only thing that kept me from turning back and being like, you know what, never mind, this is a bad idea, was the fact that it was so cold in Alberta.
Yes.
So very cold. But the thing is, so like, I'm that person, okay? And this shouldn't surprise anyone, but I'm that person where like I get to airport security, and even though I've been on the website and I know exactly what I'm allowed to have in my bag, and I have all my fluids in a clear Ziploc with the exact mils written on it, and they're not in any, and I know exactly that I'm allowed to bring everything that I have with me, I still get nervous going through airport security.
Right.
I don't know what it is. There's something in my brain that is like, they're gonna tell you no, and you're gonna be absolutely humiliated.
Yeah.
We won't blame that on anyone, but I'm just saying I was raised not to make a scene, and I feel like that has something to do.
What?
Moving on. But the problem is you get closer to the border and you have to drive slower and slower. So first you're going 110 kilometers an hour towards the border, and then it's down to 80, and then it's down to 50, and then it's down to 30, and then it's down to 15. And you're in this slow crawl towards the border, and you're like, this is going to be the worst part. If I can just get through this part, I'll be able to relax a little bit. And then, like most things, it was fine. It was the most generic human interaction I could have had with the person.
Well, that's good.
And then I was fine. I was on my way.
Yeah. Well, it's good that it was uneventful. That's what everybody crossing the border wants.
Well, yeah, I know. But that's the point that I'm making, is that I had all this anxiety for nothing.
Oh, I thought you were disappointed that there wasn't more.
I was disappointed that they didn't hassle me at the border. Yeah. No, I built this up in my mind of like, oh my goodness, they're going to be mad at me because I have something, or, you know, and I went through the van. I was prepared for them to search my van, take the paneling off, go through it, throw a drug dog in the van. I was prepared for all that. I don't know why. I was just like, this could happen, and I just wanted to be mentally prepared. But then I go through, and, you know, the person did their job, and then I went on my way. That is like, I'm where I want to be now for a little while. So it was just contending with my anxieties long enough to get me out the door and on my way.
Right.
So then I get into Arizona, and I'm chill now, baby. We're in vacation mode now. I'm going to put my feet up. I'm going to have a nap. Maybe 2 naps, who's to say? Me and my elderly dog are just having a time, resting our old bones, recovering from the cold. And then the inverter in my van catches on fire.
Oh my goodness. Like literally catches on fire? Like you see flames, or it's smoking?
Well, do you know what an inverter is?
Maybe not.
How about I explain what an inverter is for our dear sweet internet friends? Because you obviously know, but just in case they don't know.
Okay.
So an inverter basically takes power from your batteries and transforms it into something that you could plug your appliances, your phone and stuff into without any difficulty. So basically, it, instead of DC power from the battery, it turns it into AC power. Like, so it'll turn it into usually 110 or 120 volt DC power instead of AC power from the batteries. Or sorry, I think I got that mixed up. But you get my point.
Okay, I do.
So basically, I have these big batteries that the solar panels charge, and then it takes the power from those big batteries and it just repackages it in a way that I can use it to charge my phone, for example.
Okay.
So fortunately, I was awake when it happened. I turned it on, and it sounded like the fan stalled for a second, and then I just heard a popping noise and saw smoke. So it's this metal box. So whether there were actually flames or not, I could not tell you.
Okay.
But it smelled real smoky, and it was really not great.
Was it like hot?
Yeah.
Oh.
And actively smoking, so.
Ooh, not good.
So then I'm like, I can fix this.
You thought you could fix it?
I'm like, I'm a strong, independent woman. I can fix this. I got the brains. I have a micro ratcheting screwdriver. Nothing can stand in my way. I'm going to fix this thing.
Good golly. And
so I did what I've been doing for most of my life, which is just taking things apart and marveling at the insides.
Okay.
So I took it apart and I, at that time, the way I had taken it apart, I couldn't see any scorch marks or anything like that. It smelled burnt, but I couldn't see any damage to it. So I put it back together, plugged it back into the batteries. I checked the wiring on the batteries and stuff and make sure those worked. And then I turned it on. It worked just fine. I plugged my phone in.
Oh my goodness.
And then it just stopped working. And I was baffled by the fact that the thing that had just got on fire stopped working mere hours after it had caught on fire.
Weren't you worried that it was going to fry your phone, Mac?
No, because I was supervising it.
Well, that wouldn't have stopped it if it was going to do it, though.
Mom, I don't think fire travels through wires. I think fire is where it's at.
I don't know, Mackenzie. I would have been worried about the phone.
Okay, well, I wasn't worried about the phone. That wall block probably has a surge protector in it.
Oh my
It's not like I was just wiring the battery wires to my phone. It was, I just assumed the inverter was doing its job.
Okay. I would just assume that it's like lightning and it just travels through all the wires to your phone.
It stopped doing that.
Okay.
And so then but the light was still on. The green light was still on. So I was like, it's still good. It's got to be still good. So I messed around with it for another day or so trying to get it to work. And then I was like, okay, I need to take this all the way apart.
Oh my goodness.
With the knowledge that I probably won't be able to put it back together.
Right.
So I take it all the way apart, Mom. I take all the screws out of it. I slide it all the way apart. And then I'm like, these are the scorch marks I couldn't see before.
Oh, really? Did you take pictures?
I might have, because the whole time I was being very grumpy with my dad, who's an electrician, about the whole thing, because it wasn't his fault, but I had phoned because I'm about, 15, 20 minutes from a small town here. So I had phoned the hardware store because that's the other thing. I don't know what the American equivalent is of Canadian Tire. So I didn't even know what to put into Google to find what I needed, because Canadian Tire has everything.
Right.
You need an inverter, you need a van battery, you need a toothbrush, you need some Tupperware containers. You go to Canadian Tire. It's got all that. I don't know if there's an American equivalent to that.
Right.
So anyway, I phone them and ask if they have an inverter. And they tell me, because the first inverter I had was a 1,000-watt inverter. And they're like, we only have a 2,000-watt inverter. So I am trying to ascertain from my dad if I can hook up a 2,000-watt inverter. But he's asking me all these kinds of questions as if I have physically laid eyes on the inverter.
Okay. It wasn't what you needed at that minute.
Yeah. And I'm getting frustrated because I don't know the answers to any of his questions.
Right.
So then I'm even more frustrated because I don't know what's wrong with my inverter because the green light's still on. Yeah. So why isn't it working? Even though I do know what's wrong with the inverter, which is that it caught fire. And then my second thing is that I'm frustrated with the circumstances because I'm like, I don't know why you keep asking me questions, because I'm telling you I don't know the answers to the questions.
Okay.
But then he asked me about the gauge on the wires to the battery, and as it turns out, the wire that were going from the battery to the inverter that I had was way too small for that inverter. So what probably happened is it overheated and caught fire.
Oh.
I don't know for sure. That was just cursory research. So if there are van people listening to this, that's my best guess. The gauge was just way too small.
Okay.
So anyway, then finally my dad is like, and I'm running out of phone battery. That's the other thing. He's asking me all these questions I don't know the answer to, and I'm running out of phone battery, and the cigarette lighter in the van doesn't work. So I have a little solar battery pack that takes like days to fully charge.
Oh, goodness.
So I've got like 20% left on my phone battery. I have everything turned off that I can have turned off, but I need help from an electrician because I need to know about this inverter, if I can upgrade my inverter to a 2,000-watt inverter. So anyway, he's like, it should be fine. It'll probably drain the battery a bit fast, but it'll be fine. So then I'm on my way to K&B Tools. Not a sponsor. I'm on my way to K&B Tools, and then I see a giant billboard that says Solar Bills. And I'm like, Solar Bill? You should have something to help me out.
That sounds cool.
So I'm like, Solar Bill's got to have an inverter. So I was like, well, what's the harm in stopping? So I pull into Solar Bill's. And first of all, and they're just people hanging out outside.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're just hanging out outside having a time. And he's like, hey, can I help you? And I'm like, yeah, my inverter crapped out on me and I need a new one because I'm not gonna spend my vacation not being able to do the things I enjoy. Like I couldn't have charged my laptop to record a podcast, for example.
Right.
And like writing and stuff and like, you know, I'm on vacation right now. I want to be able to pursue my hobbies a little bit here. If not now, then when?
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I would rather spend the money and cut my trip short if I have to, or do whatever to try and make it work with the inverter. But I want to have the inverter.
Okay.
So I'm like, anyway, my inverter crapped out on me. I need a new one. And he's like, well, let's take a look at it first. This kind elderly man, Bill, I presume.
You didn't ask him if his name was Bill?
No, I did not. I wasn't like, are you Solar Bill, sir? I was like, I need an inverter. And I have 6% left on my battery, and I have no sense of direction. So once the phone dies, I'm lost for the rest of my trip.
Okay.
I need an inverter. He's like, well, let's take a look at it. So then now I'm embarrassed because I've taken apart this inverter and I did not put it back together. So it's in pieces.
Oh, Max.
So I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll grab it for you. And I literally just like scoop up the shambles of this inverter. And I hand it to him, and it smells like the moment the inverter is close to you, you can smell the burnt.
Oh my God.
So I hand it off to this guy, and he looks down at it and looks up at me, and then he just goes, you let the magic smoke out, didn't you?
Magic smoke.
And I'm like, yes? And I'm trying to figure out if this is a joke or if he thinks I was smoking pot and wrecked it by smoking pot, because I've been by myself since the road trip started. I have had no human interaction. So my skills and ability to read are gone at this point. They have melted away with the minus 40.
Left.
So I'm trying to figure out what he's talking about. And then later, after I had bought the inverter and left the establishment, I realized he was joking.
Oh.
And it had nothing to do with the inverter being on fire. It was like, oh, technology, let the magic smoke out. Anyway, so I have a new inverter and it's working great. I actually downgraded to a smaller inverter so that the gauge of the wires that are going from the battery to the inverter are the right size to hopefully prevent any future fires in my small van.
Well, at least you were awake and you were there. That's what is the good side of this story.
Yes, that is the good side of this story. The other good side is the Solar Bill's place was not on Google Maps. It was not anywhere that I could find it.
Oh,
okay,
it was just a random.
Some of you people are going to be like, whoa, you didn't look around at a town map or you didn't buy paper town maps? No, I didn't. Okay, I am relying 100% on my phone for this. And I realize the bet that I've made, but here it is.
Here it is.
You know, like I'm banking on my phone bailing me out.
Yeah.
And that's just the world that we live in now. So if you have a problem with it, don't go on a road trip with me because it is what it is. Could I be more prepared for this trip? Of course I could. But I don't live in that world. I live in the world where my phone tells me where to go and how to go.
Okay.
But yeah, it was not ideal. The smoky smell is now out of the van, so that's great.
Oh, that's good.
And
the new inverter is working great. It's charging everything.
The new inverter is working great. I can plug more than one thing in at a time, which is an upgrade from the last one.
Score.
So really, I live in my van, so I am technically a homeowner, not to brag. But, you know, the fact that I got through my first home fire and nothing really was damaged other than the inverter, you know, that's a chicken noodle soup for the soul type story.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, dear sweet internet friends, I don't know. Tell me something nice. Just tell me something nice this week.
Just don't mention the impersonations.
Okay. So I'm sorry, just to clarify, you would rather me screech into the microphone and the phone like I normally do over me attempting a Julia Roberts impression.
No, but I had no idea. Like, it didn't sound like it. Just, I don't know.
What does Julia Roberts sound like?
I don't know. That's what I'm
Julia
saying. I don't know, Mac. I don't know.
Mom, eat, pray, love. And if you love our podcast, you can find us across the board at Hey Mom, Hey Mack on social media. You can send us an email at heymomheymack@gmail.com. And you can find all our content on our website, which is, you guessed it, heymomheymack.com.
And that's Mom with an O and Mac with a CK. Bye, Mac.
Bye, Mom.
Oh, my word.
Okay, no more impressions.